Jake, please help me. If this goes on, the deal will definitely fail. Right after returning to work, the team leader, Michael, unexpectedly turned to me for assistance. Hearing the situation, I quickly got everything ready and headed to the rented meeting room where Michael and Monica were negotiating with a buyer from an overseas supermarket. When I arrived, Monica and Michael were struggling to communicate with a buyer speaking heavily Italian accented English. Today, I'll prove my worth to the company. With this determination, I fully utilized my language skills to turn the situation around. My name is Jake. They say life has several turning points, and lately, I've been wondering if I might have made the wrong choices. Objectively speaking, landing a job at Carter's Bread, a relatively well-known bakery in the country, at the age of 30, should be considered fortunate. However, once I started working there, I found that my skills as a traditional Japanese confectioner weren't being used at all. And I was stuck with sales work, which I wasn't good at and honestly found tiring. Why did a traditional Japanese confectioner end up employed at a bakery company? Carter's Bread has sold traditional Japanese confections alongside bread since its founding. Since graduating high school, I had worked in a Japanese confectionery shop. But when the shop's owner's chronic illness worsened, the store had to close. For the year following the closure, I used my savings to travel abroad, broadening my horizons. 6 months ago, thinking I might be able to use my skills, I applied for a job at Carter's Bread and was lucky enough to get hired. A former Japanese confectioner? That's amazing. We'd love to have you in our confectionery division. One key reason I got the job was that Michael, who oversees the Japanese confectionery division, was the one who interviewed me. I brought some handmade traditional Japanese confections to the interview to showcase my skills, and Michael expressed strong interest in working with me. However, the confectionery division at Carter's Bread was far worse than I had imagined. Despite having some demand due to its history and tradition, its sales didn't even reach 1/10 of the bakery division's. It was Monica, a colleague my age, who explained the reality of the confectionery division to me when I started. I never expected to reunite with her here. When I first saw her, I tried my hardest to keep a poker face so she wouldn't notice my surprise. Monica had her dark brown hair tied into a ponytail, and her slender legs, clad in tights, extended from the skirt of her business suit. Her big, expressive eyes and charming dimples when she smiled made her look like someone who could easily appear on TV as a celebrity. Even if you're an excellent Japanese confectioner, unfortunately, your skills can't be used here right now. The company doesn't intend to develop new products for the confectionery division, they just want to maintain the status quo. Hearing this from Monica in a calm tone, I instinctively glanced at Michael. Michael lowered his head slightly and said apologetically, "She's right. The confectionery division has been shrinking year by year. Still, I pushed hard for you to be hired, promising I'd help boost sales." Apparently, Carter's Bread's confectionery division was considered a dead-end department where no one expected results beyond maintaining the current situation. Even so, I won't give up. If you want to achieve something in the confectionery division, you need to deliver results in sales first. Unless you prove there's demand, the company won't allocate any budget for new product development. Pulling me by the arm, Monica said, "Come on, we're heading out now. I need you to start pulling your weight immediately." She then dragged me off to a sales fieldwork trip. According to Michael, Monica had graduated from a prestigious university and joined Carter's Bread as an elite employee. Until about a year ago, she had been excelling in the bread product development department, but her competence attracted the attention of her boss, leading to her being reassigned almost as a demotion to the confectionery division. Apparently, she had pointed out flaws in her boss's new product plan, which rubbed him the wrong way. Most people would have quit the company after such a reassignment. But instead, she stayed and resolved to prove her worth in the confectionery division. "That's what makes her remarkable," Michael said. Just as Michael described, Monica was the only one in the confectionery division among its 10 staff members who worked with genuine enthusiasm. The others had all adopted an air of resignation, simply going through the motions of their daily tasks. "I don't want you to become like them. So, I'll teach you everything I know about sales. Stick with me." On the way to the sales meeting, Monica said this with a captivating smile. It seemed that by teaching me sales skills, she hoped to contribute, even a little, to rebuilding the confectionery division. Despite her efforts, 6 months into my job at Carter's Bread, I still hadn't secured a single contract. I tried following her instructions step by step, but when it came to negotiations, I got so nervous that my body and mouth froze. I was the same at first. But you'll get used to it, so keep trying. Let's work hard to give Michael good news when he comes back. When I told Monica about my failures, she encouraged me with her charming smile. Michael was currently on leave to care for his parents and hadn't been to the office for about a month. He was expected to return in a few weeks, but I couldn't imagine delivering good news by then. Unable to confess these thoughts to Monica, all I could do was stammer, "I'll do my best." But besides my struggles with sales, I carried another burden of guilt when it came to Monica. Once again, I couldn't tell her today. As I muttered this on my way home, memories from middle school flashed in my mind. The truth is, Monica and I had been classmates in middle school. Not only that, but we also shared a memorable experience during a 1-month short-term study abroad program in the United States, where we stayed with the same host family. However, it seemed she didn't remember me. I had grown over 20 centimeters taller since middle school, and my appearance had changed significantly. Additionally, after my parents divorced during high school, I began using my mother's maiden name. It wasn't surprising that she didn't recognize me. Back then, I had a small admiration for her, and I didn't want her to know that the unremarkable classmate she once knew was now struggling. As a result, I couldn't bring myself to tell her we had been classmates in middle school. Instead, I carried this unresolved feeling as we continued working together. On the afternoon of Michael's return to work, Monica came back to the confectionery division's office with a beaming smile. When I asked what had happened with Michael, Monica proudly shared the news. "I got a great tip from a friend in the PR department. A buyer from a supermarket chain headquartered in Italy, which operates primarily across Europe, is coming to Japan to scout for products." She excitedly explained how she secured a new sales opportunity. According to her, a buyer from a supermarket chain called Thompson Stores was scheduled to visit a rented meeting room near the station in 3 days. The bread division had also planned to pitch their products but was turned away after learning that the event wasn't open to bread suppliers. So, I reached out to see if they'd be interested in traditional Japanese confections instead, and they were. If we can get Thompson Stores to carry our products, it'll change how the company views the confectionery division. Monica's announcement electrified not only me and Michael but also the other confectionery division staff. After some discussion, it was decided that Monica, fluent in English, and Michael, with his extensive product knowledge, would represent us at the meeting. Although I wanted to contribute, tasks like preparing presentation materials were far better handled by other team members. There wasn't much I could offer in that area. Unsure of how else to help, I decided to prepare some handmade Japanese confections to boost my colleagues' morale. "Jake, this is amazing. I think this is the best daifuku I've ever had," Monica said, offering me the highest praise as she tasted one of the daifuku I brought. While Carter's Bread's confections are delicious, they're machine-made in a factory, and by the time they hit store shelves, a lot of time has passed since production. Monica seemed to appreciate the freshness of my homemade confections, prepared just that morning. If this sales pitch goes well, Jake will surely create an amazing new product. So, Michael, we absolutely have to succeed this time. After tasting my daifuku, Monica had a spirited conversation with Michael. Seeing how motivated she was, I felt relieved that, for the first time since joining the company, I had made a meaningful contribution. On the day of the meeting, Monica and Michael left the Carter's Bread office, cheered on by the confectionery division staff. The pitch involved meetings with multiple companies throughout the day, and there was a chance the schedule could be moved up. So the two left for the rented meeting room near the station with plenty of time to spare. Just before leaving, Monica, brimming with confidence, turned to me and said, "Make sure you have celebration confections ready for when we return." She then followed Michael out the door. It seemed she had enjoyed the daifuku I made earlier and wanted me to make more as a reward if the pitch was successful. Guess I should start the prep work. I began preparing the mochi and sweet red bean filling so I could finish the daifuku right after they returned. Once the prep was done, I turned to tackle some PC work, which I wasn't particularly skilled at. While struggling in front of the screen, my phone buzzed with a call from Michael. The meeting wasn't supposed to have started yet, so I wondered if something had gone wrong. Picking up the phone, I heard Michael's urgent voice asking for help. "Jake, I need your help. I think you're the only one who can fix this." Here's what happened. After hearing Michael's explanation, I informed my colleagues in the confectionery division, "Michael needs me at the meeting." I'm heading out to join them, and quickly got everything ready before leaving the office. An hour later, I arrived at the rented meeting room near the station. A woman from Thompson Stores guided me to the meeting room where the discussions were taking place. Inside, a large conference table separated Monica and Michael from a foreign man in a suit. However, it was clear from their furrowed brows that the conversation wasn't going well. "Jake? What are you doing here?" Monica looked at me in surprise, clearly unaware of Michael's call for backup. I nodded at her and said, "Leave this to me," before turning to the man in the suit. "Hello, my name is Jake. Actually, I used to live in Rome for a while." I addressed him in clear and deliberate English, aiming for easy comprehension. The man, whose expression had been tense until now, lit up and said, "Really? Your English is very easy to understand. I've been having trouble communicating because my accent seems hard for her to follow." He extended his hand for a handshake. His name was Leonardo Romano, an experienced buyer at Thompson Stores. He explained that he had never had much opportunity to interact with Japanese people in English and was surprised by how difficult it was for them to understand his heavily accented speech. Likewise, he found Monica's English too flat in intonation, which made it hard for him to follow, creating a communication barrier. "I also worked at a pastry shop in Rome, so I can understand your English without any problem. Should we switch to Italian?" Switching mid-conversation to Italian, I asked him a question, leaving both Mr. Romano and Monica wide-eyed in surprise. It seemed neither of them had expected me to be this proficient in languages. "Your Italian pronunciation is excellent. Then I'll take you up on your offer, let's continue in Italian. To be honest, Thompson Stores has never dealt in traditional Japanese confections before. Do you think your products could resonate with Western consumers?" Faced with Mr. Romano's straightforward question, I handed him two types of daifuku. "Here is the daifuku currently sold domestically by our company. Please try this one first. Afterward, compare it with this second daifuku." Mr. Romano sampled both, the factory-produced Carter's Bread daifuku and the handmade one I had prepared. Smiling, he pointed to the latter. "I prefer this one. The daifuku sold in Japan is a bit too sweet for my taste," he said. From his comments, I could tell that Mr. Romano had a refined palate. "Since I heard you're from Italy, I tailored this daifuku to suit the preferences of Italians. If Thompson Stores decides to sell our products, we'll develop the best traditional Japanese confections to suit the tastes of your local customers," I proposed. Mr. Romano nodded thoughtfully and took another bite of each daifuku, comparing them once more. With a thumbs up and a warm smile, he remarked, "So, this is what you call the spirit of hospitality? I've heard traditional Japanese confections are delicate, but your handmade daifuku reflects such meticulous attention to detail. I can tell it's adjusted to suit Italian tastes, not just in sweetness but in the texture of the mochi and the smoothness of the filling. Before long, he had polished off the remaining daifuku I had brought. His enthusiastic eating left Monica, Michael, and me exchanging amused glances. Taking a sip from a bottled tea to catch his breath, Mr. Romano playfully stuck out his tongue and confessed, "Actually, I once received traditional Japanese confections as a souvenir from a friend who traveled to Japan. I've been a fan ever since, but I rarely get the chance to enjoy them. That's why I overindulged today." He confessed that he was, in fact, a fan of traditional Japanese confections. When I translated his words for Monica and the others, their eyes lit up with excitement. "Jake, this is your chance. Forget the sales pitch I taught you, use your own words as a confectioner to convey the charm of traditional Japanese sweets to Mr. Romano," Monica urged. Encouraged by her words, I took a deep breath to steady myself and began speaking earnestly. Traditional Japanese confections have been cherished for generations in Japan. They embody subtle sweetness, delicate textures, and the rich flavors of their natural ingredients, crafted with care and dedication by artisans. I paused, picking up the packaged daifuku from Carter's Bread. Our company has also worked tirelessly over the years to bring these confections to more people. Please allow Thompson stores to carry our products and share them with your customers. After finishing, I bowed deeply. Mr. Romano gently patted my shoulder and encouraged me to look up. "With someone like you behind the products, I'm confident we'll receive something exceptional. Let's sell your traditional confections at Thompson stores," he said, extending his hand. Grateful and overwhelmed, I clasped his hand firmly with both of mine. Witnessing this, Monica and Michael let out sighs of relief, their faces reflecting their newfound hope. "Michael, you're the one who called Jake, weren't you?" "I was so surprised when he showed up out of nowhere," Monica said with a chuckle. After the successful meeting, Michael invited us to a family restaurant near the station for a small celebration. While the mood was festive, I still hadn't fully processed what had just happened. Michael, patting me on the shoulder, explained, while waiting in line for the restroom. "I overheard others from competing companies complaining about how they couldn't understand Mr. Romano's heavily accented English. That's when I remembered your multilingual skills and decided to call you." Hearing that information, Michael remembered my multilingual skills and decided to contact me. Responding to Michael's SOS, I quickly adjusted the daifuku I had planned to serve Monica and the others upon their return, tailoring it to suit Italian tastes, and rushed to the meeting. "I knew during your interview that you could speak multiple languages, Jake." Of course, I was fully aware that Monica speaks English too. But I wanted to be prepared for any situation, Michael said, puffing out his chest proudly. Monica, however, looked at me intently and murmured, "I didn't know you had such a talent, Jake." "That's a surprise." She then turned her attention to her steak, cutting into it thoughtfully. Just then, Michael's phone buzzed. "Oh, right. I need to report our success," he said, leaving the table in high spirits. Left alone with Monica, I decided it was finally time to share something I had kept to myself. The success of the meeting had given me the confidence I had been lacking. "Monica, there's something I'd like to tell you," I began, speaking about my middle school days and our shared memories during our study abroad experience. I described a particularly memorable night stargazing with our host family, where we had shared our dreams under the vast sky. As I spoke, Monica's eyes widened, and a look of realization dawned on her face. "Wait, you're telling me? Jake? Is it really you? I can't believe it. You've completely changed, I didn't recognize you. But now that you mention it, your eyes still have that familiar look. You were shorter than me back then, and now look at you." She kept nodding, visibly moved as she compared the boy she once knew to the man sitting in front of her. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I felt ashamed for not contributing to the company and couldn't bring myself to bring it up. I admitted, bowing my head. Monica let out a soft laugh and waved her hand. You don't need to worry about that. And drop the formal language, we're the same age, after all. I always found it a bit odd when you used it. Just talk casually with me. Really? Okay, I'll try. I replied hesitantly, attempting to adjust my tone. Before I could continue, Michael returned to the table. Just as I expected, the higher-ups were stunned. I even secured funding for new product development. We're going to be busy starting tomorrow, he announced triumphantly. That's amazing. Let's revive the confectionery division and make it shine again, Monica declared, her fist clenched with determination. My conversation with Monica was interrupted, leaving me a bit disappointed as I lowered my gaze. If only Michael had taken a little longer to return, I could have talked to her a bit more. As I was lost in thought, my phone buzzed in my pocket. When I checked the screen, there was a message from Monica, who had resumed eating. It read, "Let's have dinner together tonight. I have a lot I want to talk about." I couldn't help but glance at her. She subtly winked, ensuring only I noticed. Even with Michael sitting right there, Monica had sent me such a bold message. My heart raced with excitement. Though I felt my cheeks begin to relax into a smile, I quickly composed myself, determined not to let Monica or Michael see my expression. That evening, Monica and I were seated in a private room of a French restaurant, sharing dinner. There were no colleagues or supervisors, just the two of us. Monica, who had been beautiful even as a student, had matured into a graceful and confident woman. At first, being alone with her made me incredibly nervous. But as we reminisced about our school days, we gradually grew more at ease. About an hour into our meal, Monica said, "So that's what happened." I'm sorry, I was so caught up with the move that I couldn't keep in touch. After returning from our study abroad trip in middle school, she moved with her family for her father's job just 3 months later. Meanwhile, my own high school years were consumed by my parents' divorce and the resulting upheaval, making it difficult to reconnect with her. It's not your fault, Monica. I couldn't reach out either with everything going on, I said, trying to reassure her. You should have told me sooner, she said, her tone slightly sulky, almost childlike, perhaps due to the bit of wine she had. Far from being annoying, it was undeniably charming. Sorry. But I did keep our promise, I stammered. She broke into a radiant smile and said, You're right. I promised to work harder on foreign languages too, but you've completely surpassed me. It seems she remembered the promise we made during the stargazing trip while studying abroad. Back then, I made a vow to Monica. I had boasted to her out of sheer competitiveness, I'll learn tons of languages and leave you speechless. If I put my mind to it, French and Italian will be a piece of cake. To my surprise, she had responded with equal determination, Oh, it's on. Let's see who can learn more languages. That moment had sparked my lifelong dedication to studying multiple languages. Even while working at the Japanese confectionery shop, I kept up my self-study. After the shop closed, my passion for languages and sweets led me to travel the world, learning about traditional confections and testing my language skills in real-life settings. Thank you so much for today. If it weren't for you, the meeting would have been a disaster. And knowing you remembered our promise makes me really happy, Monica said sincerely after dessert. I shook my head. I was only able to do it because of that promise. Wanting to impress you kept me motivated. If I've been able to help you now, it was all worth it. Gathering my courage, I confessed the feelings I had held onto since our school days. She gave me a mischievous smile and asked, What do you mean by impress? Looking her straight in the eyes, I said, I liked you. I wanted the girl I liked to rely on me. I thought if I could speak more languages than you, that'd do it. It's childish looking back, but my feelings haven't changed. I still like you. Worried that my sudden confession might overwhelm her, I anxiously awaited her response. Monica exhaled slowly, a mix of surprise and warmth in her expression. The new guy I thought was pretty cool turns out to be the boy I once shared so many memories with. It's almost too perfect. Looks like we've been in love with each other all along, she said, wiping a tear from her eye. After 15 years of separation, a series of coincidences had brought us back together. That night, Monica and I took our first step as a couple. In the years that followed, Carter's Bread's confectionery division steadily grew its sales by expanding into international markets. Thanks to my fluency in 7 languages, a skill honed through our promise, I successfully pitched Carter's Bread's Japanese confectionery to supermarkets and department stores across Europe, Asia, and beyond. Leveraging my experience as a Japanese confectionery craftsman, I also contributed to the development of new products. Within 3 years, I was promoted to assistant manager. Today, my direct supervisor and the division's current manager is none other than my wife, Monica. This little one will definitely take after us and love Japanese confectionery. After all, it has been enjoying so much of it even before being born. Once I go on maternity leave, I'm counting on you to take care of the confectionery division. Monica said gently, rubbing her slightly rounded belly with a serene tone. I nodded confidently. Don't worry. With all the training you gave me, I've got sales and product development covered. I've even been brainstorming Japanese confectionery ideas perfect for kids. Looking forward to the day my child could enjoy Japanese confectionery I had made, I vowed to keep working hard for my family's future.